G'day everyone, it's me, the Anti-Theocrat, back with another one. Before I go into the main content, it's a quick sales pitch. It's the only one you're getting, so enjoy it. Below these videos, I do attach all links to the information if there are links to be had. I also archive all of the information if that's possible. I also supply links to other platforms for my content and how to support me if you wish to do so. That'd be nice, but no requirement. That's it. That's my intro. That's my sales pitch. It's all I've got. It's all you're ever going to get. And now, on with the show. So when do we get to decide the world is being run by pedophiles? By sex offenders. I mean, in the UK, they're still hiding the report into the rape, the grooming gang scandal, which has seen thousands of English girls bought into the sex trade by being groomed through grooming. Why do we have a guy who I will only call he who can't be named, who didn't kill himself? What was that all about? Why do we have his accomplice, or said accomplice, in custody and being run all over the place to keep her hidden? The world seems to be run by a pedophile gang, a pedophile circle. Now, maybe that's conspiracy theory, but fuck, I'm getting closer and closer to thinking conspiracy theories are not all that fucking bad. Anyway, I'll lead us to where this one goes, but essentially, how often does someone have to be on trial for something before we admit there might have been a problem? New evidence raised in stepmom's third trial for alleged incest. It's alleged the father of the teen saw his wife kissing her stepson under a blanket. Now a new piece of evidence in the case has emerged. I imagine the father had some part in these cases, but as we will find, he can't anymore, and has passed not knowing whether or not there was a guilty verdict here, and I don't know what his place in this was. A letter a boy wrote to his father about allegations of sexual abuse by his own stepmother has been raised as new evidence in a judge-alone incest trial being heard in Victoria. Now maybe it's because it's in Victoria, the wokest state in Australia, that this is a problem, because how dare we find women to be capable or you know, we just can't. No, not women. It's unheard of. The woman, who cannot be named so that the alleged victim is not identified, for the sake of the victim, this is fair. But it fucking stinks that these people get away with this just because we can't, you know, let the victims go named or identified. Is facing her third trial accused of committing incest when she was in her late 20s. And the alleged victim was aged 13 and 16. She has been convicted by a jury twice, and in both instances the conviction was overturned by judges in the Court of Appeal. During her third trial in the Victorian County Court on Monday, which is being decided by a judge instead of a jury, the woman's defence counsel, Michael Fitzgerald, says a letter has turned up that was relevant to deciding the woman's fate. The letter was written from a boy to his father and only discovered amongst the dad's possession after he died this year. Mr. Fitzgerald told the court it discusses the alleged abuse. He said the letter was new material that the defence had become aware of since previous trials. Mr. Fitzgerald is seeking to cross-examine the stepson about the letter, despite the legal system's preference that alleged victims of sexual crimes should only be cross-examined in court once to reduce the emotional and psychological impact on them of recounting their alleged experiences. So, even though this feminist theory that victims are going to suffer more by telling their stories, which has been debunked in studies, it turns out that real victims are actually more likely to wish to tell their stories. Yeah, but because, you know, stepson, male. We can do this anyway. Doesn't matter. Fuck feminist theory when it's a male. Is that the reason? I just see hypocrisy piled on top of hypocrisy. Mr. Fitzgerald argued that should hold less weight because we have an identification of the alleged victim, or an indication that the alleged victim was willing to give evidence. Now this is, as I said, flies in the face of feminist theory, that there will be more emotional and psychological damage by people who are actually victims. If this guy was actually a victim, and I have to say 3 trials stinks of an awful lot of trying to find someone guilty of something they may have done, then yeah, he is going to want to give evidence, more likely to want to give evidence. The prosecution was sent the letter on Monday and is considering it. In previous trials, the court heard the father of the alleged victim, the woman's husband, came home to discover the two of them kissing on the couch covered by a blanket. The court heard he sided with the woman and kicked his son out of the house, which caused the alleged victim years of anguish. So this is probably why we haven't seen the letter before now. Daddy sided, as is the gynocentric way, with his piece of pussy. The woman has maintained her innocence throughout the lengthy legal proceedings and her 2 stints in jail between conviction and appeal. The first trial was wrapped up in 2016. She is charged with 2 counts of gross indecency with a person under 16 and 2 counts of sexual penetration with a child over the age of 10 she knew to be her stepchild, taking place in the mid-1980s. Jury trials are not taking place in Victoria indefinitely due to COVID-19 restrictions. The trial continues. I have nothing more to say about this. I just know that if a man had been in this position, a 3rd trial wouldn't have been required. It's just... where do you go with this shit? Really? Where do you go? What? Fucking hell. I just wanted to bring this to people's attentions because this is the only place I've seen this story. It must be somewhere else out there. But it just hasn't been cropping up. And I get sick of seeing these stories crop up. I have another one buried away somewhere that I recently came across that discusses a teenager bashing a girl and a taxi driver and stealing the taxi driver's car and buggering off or some shit like that. It's not until you get halfway through the article that you find out the person in question was a girl, a teenage girl. That's it. The whole thing was written. You could have read the first 3 paragraphs of that article knowing that it was a boy, because that's how it was fucking framed. And I get sick to death of this shit. The world is run by pedophiles, but only the accepted ones. And that's women or wealthy ones. Anyone else is fucked. Which is good, because I don't give a flying fuck about pedophiles. I think we should hunt them to the edge of the world and push them off. Hey. But I just wanted to talk about this. The next video is a flippant throwaway thing, and I want to get this out of the way before I hit the one after the next one, which is getting back to serious matters, I guess. Alright? And that's it. I've had enough. I'm going. I do not want to do this anymore. I've had enough of this. I'm out of here. I've been the anti-theocrat. May your gods remain fictional. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, have fun.